Welcome into episode 59, live, Ramie and Drew. I am Ramie Mackloff. That is Drew Flaggy. We're a couple of Milwaukee comedians. We talk about sports and whatever else comes to mind. We come to you live on June 17th. It's a little after 10 p.m. And we come to you while the Brewers and Angels are doing battle out there in Anaheim. If you're joining us live, we'll keep you up to date with any developments there. We'll talk about the NBA Finals, which are about to start any second now. But Drew, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we did a Ramie and Drew podcast. Not a minute since we've seen each other. We've seen each other recently outside of the podcast, but we haven't done one of these, and I don't even know how long. It's been like, I don't know, 10 days. I think this is the longest break we've ever taken in between a Ramie and Drew episode.
Yeah. What the hell did you mean about the NBA Finals are about to start? Right?
Did I say start? Oh, it's over.
Start.
My bad. I saw confusion in your face, and I didn't know why. Sometimes I just get to talking and not even know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you said start, and I was like, oh, like, are we actually going to see something exciting happen finally in the NBA Finals? Because this NBA Finals sucked. Like, I mean,
that was a boring ass series. And notice how boring the Chiron is there, the little banner that goes across the bottom, because that's how boring this series was. And congrats to the Celtics and my buddy Nick Cattles, my former co-host out in Sacramento, who's a Boston area native and a big Celtics fan. He's the only Celtics fan I know, and who I'm actually happy for. The rest of them can fuck right off. But just all in all, Drew, that was a boring NBA Finals. Like, good for them, and I know they're going to celebrate in Boston, whether it was boring or not. But goddamn, was that not fun to watch?
Well, so here's the thing: the Celtics, like, this year they were such an efficient team, and like they were just a machine. That entire team was like a team of Giannis's, where what they just do is really good on a nightly basis, and it's boring for everyone else to watch, I guess.
Yeah,
like that's how I felt. It was like, oh, they're just so good that it's boring. I'm happy.
Yeah, and also I don't think the Mavericks played their best brand of basketball either. Like Luka was the best player in the series for the first two games, and then just kind of disappeared. And he came on a little bit late in this one, but it was way too late. Kyrie Irving, I think we saw the real Kyrie Irving come out for maybe 3/4 of a game. And other than that, he was playing below his expectation level. And really, more than even those two guys, the supporting cast didn't really show up for the Mavericks in this series. They didn't do anything. Like, yeah, you're right that the Celtics aren't the most exciting team in the world just on their own. Like, they're really good, but they're just not all that exciting. But the Mavs didn't do much to pull their end of the weight either in terms of providing a fun or entertaining NBA Finals.
You know, the Mavs bench gave me PTSD for watching the Bucks all season. I was like, oh, yeah, this is other teams decide that their role players are going to do nothing also. So, I mean, that's going to be interesting to see who we swap with the Mavs for. Like, are we going to go with Derek Lively or something like that? We're just going to trade Pat Connaughton for fucking, I don't know, Tim Hardaway or something. I don't, like, Jason Kidd, I don't think managed that series well at all. Luka,
I don't know, man. When guys were playing the way they were playing, I don't know how much the head coach is going to do.
Luka made me actually have to agree with Brian Windhorst, and that pissed me off. When Windhorst sat there and was like, he's got to stop complaining to all the got to stop complaining to the referees after every play. I'm like, yeah, Luka's constant bitching really set the tone for the Mavericks this entire series.
Yes.
Like they were playing,
and that's been a wrap on him. That's been a wrap on him for sorry. That's been a wrap on Luka for a long time, and I'm not even just talking about since he came to the NBA. And Windhorst referenced it in his rant where he ethered Luka Doncic. This goes back to his days playing in the Euro League and in Spain or wherever the fuck he was playing before he came to the US. Like him being a crybaby and getting distracted by arguing or bitching to the refs, that's been a wrap on him for a long time. Again, preceding even his NBA career.
Yeah, it's just, I guess, because this was like the biggest stage for him to be on, and just doing this because I don't watch every single Mavs game or something like that. But I was like, holy shit, it was every game. Like these players hear the chatter and stuff. And Luka just continued to complain.
Mm-hmm.
And he just never stopped. It was like I said, it was boring. Like the Celtics, all they had to do was just play a 5-man offense because Luka was on the other end complaining. He had no interest in defense.
As far as what this means, big picture wise, and because I don't know how much else there is to take away or talk about from this particular series, Drew. But they do this every year with every team. You know, right after the Nuggets won it last year, they were like, "Oh, is this a dynasty?" And they did it with the Bucks too when they won in 2021, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, this is only 26," and blah blah blah. They do it every year. They're like, this team is poised to go on a run and be a dynasty, when really that's almost never the case. Dynasties are like once in a generation. Repeats get harder every year in every sport. As far as the Celtics go, and who or what they are in the Eastern Conference, what type of obstacle they are to the Bucks, they don't. I mean, they're a good team. Don't get me wrong, and they just won a championship, and they were the best team in the NBA this year. And I don't think there's much to argue about there. But are they a team where I go, man, that's a team that's going to dominate the East and dominate the NBA for years to come? No, not really, man. Like Al Horford is up there in years. Kristaps Porzingis has always been a little fragile. I'm not ready to say that Jason Tatum is a guy who always shows up for the big moments, because he disappeared at times, even in this series. And the bottom line is that the Celtics were just that much better a team than the Mavericks, that they could withstand that. Jaylen Brown is probably the guy I believe in the most when it comes to Boston, but man, I'm still going to stick by, and we can get into the Drew Holiday conversation here in a second as far as Bucks fans go and how they're
I don't want to have that one.
We can, and I think we should. But give me the Bucks core healthy over the Celtics core healthy. Like this doesn't strike a lot of fear in me as a Bucks fan, or if I'm another, Eastern Conference power that feels like they have a shot at a championship. This doesn't do a lot to make me waver in that belief that you could do something here in the near future, that the Celtics are some unstoppable force that you're going to have to deal with.
I don't think that the Celtics are a force that you can't overcome or something like that. You have to play smart. The big thing that I'm obviously going to look at going forward with the Bucks is the offense has to revolve, or like they have to actually move. Like they have to be in motion around Giannis. They can't just have Giannis crashing to the paint anymore. I'm not happy that Giannis is playing for Greece, like with his injury, with his calf.
I hate that. I really hate that.
But whatever, it's him. He's allowed to do that. I'm not going to hate him at all. It's like I'll be pissed off if he gets hurt. But I just like the offense, like the way the ball sticks in the whole offense. And this was under Bud, and this was under Adrian Griffin, and for the most part, it was still like this under Doc, where guys weren't rotating around the perimeter. There weren't guys trailing Giannis. There wasn't. It was let Giannis go do whatever he has to do. Now, I think that a full off season, I like that Darvin Ham is back, because I don't think we talked about that since that hasn't been a thing. I like that Darvin Ham's coming back and he's familiar with this team.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of these players, I just really want something offensively to happen where Giannis and Dame are locked in the way Chris and Giannis are together. But like offensively, the Bucks have the firepower with those three to compete with everybody. Brook's another year older. I don't know how many more years we can keep stealing out of Brook. I mean, this is his last year of his contract anyways. The main thing that I want is I want an actual defender, like a perimeter defender, to come in at the 2, because you're not going to get a shooting guard that's going to also give you 1,000,000 points. Like you're not getting a 20-point per game guy with.
I'm not saying that there aren't moves to be made. There aren't improvements to be made. There certainly are. I'm just saying big picture. And, this is going to be the core of the Celtics moving forward. I don't think they're going to make any major changes. And as far as the Bucks score goes, I mean, right now it's Giannis, Dame and Chris. And yeah, Brooke is part of that for one more year. Bobby's probably part of that till at least a trade deadline, unless something really good comes up this offseason. I will take the Bucks core healthy over the Celtics, and we just didn't see that this year. And look, man, maybe we won't see that. That's quite possible. That's something that we'll never get to witness. But bottom line is, if and when we do witness that, I feel pretty good about this. Again, the Celtics are not a team that I look at and I go, yeah, that's a dynasty in the making right there. Al Horford's days are numbered. Kristaps Porzingis' days seem to always be numbered. That guy always seems to run into an injury at one point or another in a season. I all due respect to them, congrats. They earned it. They were the best team in the NBA this year. I don't think this is like a generational thing.
No, I mean, they're going to be the team with the target on their back next year. The big thing, though, that I will say, because, Jason Tatum was the guy I shit on constantly all year because it's funny. So now he's got his ring, and, he's probably going to take his Kobe selfie or whatever he's going to do. And that's totally fine. I'll lay off Jason Tatum for a little bit on this one. But, he may be more dangerous now that he got that ring. Now that it's he's got he's probably got until Christmas that I don't think anybody can really say anything about him if he's not playing well, if he's not taking big shots at the end of games or something. Tatum didn't have to be the guy to do it in this series because the whole team played so well. But maybe Tatum becomes a little bit more dangerous. Maybe he takes that step, because I had an argument with a couple of our friends where, they said that Jason Tatum was a top 10 player in the NBA right now. And I said, he's not even the best player on his own team. And I don't consider Brown the best. I mean, I was being a little bit facetious, but I'm like, no, let me walk it back. Top 10 players in this league, no particular order. Bobby Portis, no. Pat Bev, no. The best players in the league, it would be Giannis, Embiid, Luka, Jokic, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis when he's healthy, but Anthony Davis is still good. I still think Kawhi is better than Jason Tatum. I would rather Kawhi taking a last shot or something, or making something happen.
I'm kind of out on Kawhi at this point, dude.
Is it health or is it?
Yeah, it's health.
Well, okay, health. Jason Tatum is probably one of the best players in the league then.
No, but I mean,
he's Kawhi, jumping a lot of guys because of health.
Kawhi is a guy that you consistently cannot count on. Almost everybody runs into an injury at some point in their career, but Kawhi is a guy who you consistently cannot count on at this point.
Well, I'm still gonna say SGA is still gonna be up there. This is a shitty thing to say to a guy that just won a championship, but Jason Tatum is, I think he's just a slightly better version of Jimmy Butler with worse defense. I think he makes everybody better, but he's a slightly worse defender, but he doesn't really need to be the best defender on his own team.
Yeah, I don't think he's the clear-cut best player on that team. I think you're right that I think it's different on a night-to-night basis. It is one of those two guys, Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. But if you're not the best guy on your team every night in and night out, then you're probably not a top 10 player in this league. Jason Tatum is awesome, but man, I'm with you. I don't know if I would say top 10. That's just a really well-constructed roster that they got in Boston.
I'll put him top 15. I'll put him ahead of LeBron right now.
I don't know if I could put him ahead of LeBron. I don't know.
No, right now, I'm not saying all time. I'm not doing a leg.
Yeah.
But yeah,
right, let's get to the conversation that you didn't want to have. I don't think most Bucks fans really want to.
I'm annoyed with it.
Really want to face this one. How do you feel about Drew Holiday getting the ring after the Bucks traded him? Because I feel like there are mixed emotions about this among Bucks Nation.
I think that focusing on your ex is a really bad look, and you should be happy with what you have right now.
Wait. Because this is what I've said to Brewers fans when it comes to Craig Counsell.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Now all of a sudden you believe in this philosophy?
No, actually, I believe it less. Because I still like Drew Holiday. I did wear Drew Holiday jersey through a few of these playoff games. I still like Drew Holiday. I'm happy that he got to be in a good situation. and that he didn't have to sit in Portland with whatever the fuck that is right now. Because I like the Blazers. I watch Blazers games, and I mean that's why my hair's all fucked up. Like I've pulled that out watching the Blazers a lot. I want Anthony Simons to be good, but like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's I hate the discourse around Drew Holiday. I don't hate him
Yes.
because
Yes.
I hate all of the shit where they're sitting there being like, and he's a generational defender. No, why didn't Brad Stevens go get him when he was available from New Orleans? Why did nobody look for Drew Holiday? Why was he not a guy? Everyone thought he was a winner. Everybody knew he was a good player. Everybody knew he was a good defender. And yet nobody was making the trade. No one was giving up the draft picks. Nobody was giving New Orleans anything for like we didn't get a whole lot of praise for that move. Like,
yeah.
we won, and it was like, yeah, Drew Holiday was a huge part of it and everything. And I think that's when, like, unfortunately, at like 32 years old, that's when he started getting looked at. Drew Holiday was always a good player.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt about that. I agree with you 100% that I'm happy for Drew. I'm the discourse, which I mean, it's basketball talk, which, as we've pointed out, often is in a lot of cases broken in America when it comes to logical, reasonable basketball talk. But the whole idea that the Bucks fucked up by making this trade. Ask the Celtics after their parade if they could trade Drew Holiday for Dame Lillard, and they would do it. And ask and go back and ask anybody when the Bucks make. If that's not the case today, go back and ask anybody when the Bucks made the move if they would make that trade, and anybody would do it. And when you look at the move that the Bucks, they didn't have a choice in terms of who they were going to trade. Brook was not tradable because he just signed an extension, so he wasn't trade eligible. I believe the same was the case. I say that again.
Middleton also wasn't eligible because that's the one.
I was going to say that. Yeah, Middleton wasn't eligible. If anybody, and people are kind of laughing at the Bucks right now. First of all, I still agree with the move. Secondly, there was no other way to get Dame on their team, really. And thirdly, it wasn't the Bucks who traded him to Boston. It was the Blazers that traded him there for damn near nothing. If anybody should be getting laughed at right now, it's the Blazers.
Well, the Blazers always intended on moving him anyways. Like they were not going to disrespect him by putting him in the situation that the Blazers were in with a rebuild because Drew Holiday did not fit. And a lot of what happened with the whole thing with the Blazers is it sounded like Pat Riley pissed off the Blazers because he was like, Dame Lillard's not worth our package. You want more than what we're going to give you? And I think the Blazers really looked for anybody but Miami now. And it was because Pat Riley was such a dick about it. And and so, like, whatever. Like, I don't have an issue with it. Like, I would have loved to have Dame, Drew, and Giannis. Like, obviously, that would have been my ideal thing. But you couldn't trade two of your other starters. You had to get the Suns involved with that. Like, there were a lot of things that, like, they had to do. I make that trade 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, same. No, and this doesn't change it at all.
And part of that might be, I'll even put the thing out there, part of that might be me being a big Damian Lillard fan. That he was my favorite player in the league before we got him, and he's my favorite player now. Like, there's this whole thing of, like, I'm happy he's here, and I really want to see this work out. But if it doesn't, I'm going to be like, well, you know what? I got to see my favorite player for 4 years or 3 years or whatever you want to call it, depending on when they have to make decisions. But I'm gonna be optimistic and say we're gonna have them for all four. But
and honestly, I already can't wait to see Giannis and Dame and Chris out there on the court together. And my hopes will be as high going into next year, if not higher than they were going into this year. When you consider they now have a season of playing together, they'll have a whole off season under a head coach. You'll have a Dame Lillard who had a whole off season to train. And the best you can do when it comes to health, and this goes for any team, but especially a team with the average age of the Bucks, you hope that they can stay healthy. And if they do, I think they put together as good a team and as good a run as anybody has a chance to in the NBA right now.
And the other thing people need to look at is before Damian Lillard got hurt in the playoffs, he was the best player on the floor for both teams.
Yep.
Took Dame Lillard getting hurt really bad for Chris Middleton to be the best player on the floor.
Yep.
That was so it's like there's a lot of encouraging things that are going out there. The floor is going to be opening up for Chris to get some good shots. You know, he had a great year shooting from the mid range. Every Bucks fan should be happy with this. No one should be pissed that Drew Holiday just won a championship. Like we have a crack at this thing for 3 more years.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing that we should be concerned about, honestly, and John Horst is a magician when it comes to making trades and finding value. He turns pennies into millions and stuff. That guy. So it's like they need to figure out how they're going to get bench help and bench production, and developing our 3 younger guys is going to be a big problem. Like Marjan's working out a lot, and they're showing him hitting a lot of open shots. I'll see it when it comes to him. Can Marjan defend the wings adequately? You know,
I'm not buying into the Marjan hype for another offseason. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't think I'm and no offense to him personally, but I think we would have seen it by now if he was somebody who's going to contribute to this roster.
Yeah. I mean, there are things I've seen out there, like I've seen a lot of Bucks fans talking about, do we go try to get Klay Thompson? Well, first of all, Klay Thompson's not taking a league minimum. Second of all, we don't have the cap space for it. And third of all, no.
And did you watch Klay Thompson play last year? No, thank you.
Yeah, he looked like he played for the Mavericks bench. Yeah, it was bad. Mostly like, and this is controversial too. One of the guys that I want, like, just them to go try to talk to is Cam Reddish. He's good at contesting. You know, like he's a good wing defender. You're not going to get a lot of points out of him.
No, I think Drew froze. Drew, are you still with us?
I'm still here. I should be.
Oh, there you go. Now you're back.
Oh.
You were frozen there for a minute. Last I heard from you was Cam Reddish.
Yeah.
Oh, and now he's gone. Drew just completely dropped out of the stream. I'm not sure where he went. The internet monsters got him. We'll read a couple of your comments on YouTube while we wait for Drew to get back in. This from the Great Value Brand Bird app. He says, Luka hasn't done what Chris Middleton has done. He looks gassed and fat. Yeah, Luka looked tired in this series. I thought Kyrie looked tired at points in this series, quite frankly. And Mike Breen said something about this on the broadcast tonight. Around the third quarter of this game tonight, both these teams looked tired in the NBA Finals. Again, it was just not a very fun series to watch. You got the sense that they weren't really all that into it. Once like you could tell the Celtics were ready to celebrate at the end of the game, but like when they were up by like 20 something and the outcome was pretty much determined, it felt like both teams were just kind of checked out on the whole series, and the Mavericks were ready to start the offseason and the Celtics were ready to start the celebration. He adds, you can't predict the Bucks. They are old. And yeah, I think that's the biggest wild card when it comes to the Bucks right now is their age.
So let me start throwing out some names here, because there's one thing, I think we can all agree that we're all pretty done with Pat Connaughton.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service, but kindly fuck off. Pat Connaughton, I would maybe make a call to Oklahoma City. They're trying to get rid of Josh Giddey. I know there's a lot of people that, he's probably a PDF file. He got that whole thing, like the legal thing of it. I really don't care.
That whole thing.
Well, did you? Okay, so all like upon discovery, like what all happened? Sure, maybe the NBA lawyers are really good and they really paid off this girl or something like that. But I don't know, man. He was in a fucking club. This girl was young and shit, and I don't know. She apparently fucking seeked him out. It turned out that he wasn't. I don't know. He was found innocent. I don't give a shit. I'll move on from it. I don't care. Bring Josh Giddey in. I don't fucking care. I don't care about all that dumb drama shit. It happened in the courthouse. I'm just like, I'm done. Like, do you want Pat Connaughton or do you want to get younger?
Well, you see, bad choice of words right there.
No, I think Josh Giddey's going to learn something somewhere along the line. But no, it's like,
learn at a high school level or at a college level.
I don't give a shit anymore. It's just like there are players on the Bucks who are like, when I was watching Dallas, I'm like, I was like, I hate some of their bench the way I grew to be pissed off at our bench. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just there was the one thing last week too where like that was completely taken out of context. Did you know that Damian Lillard came into the Bucks and didn't work out at all last season?
Yeah, he said that to Doc in his Doc said on the exit interviews. Doc said that Dame told him that when he first came to Milwaukee, and he said it was because when you know you're going to get traded, you can't play, you can't scrimmage in the off season the way that you normally would because you don't want to get hurt and blow any trade that might happen. So
Well,
that's why he wasn't in the game shape that he usually is to start the season.
a bunch of things happened with that. So Dame demanded the trade from Portland. Portland's ownership said, "We are going to trade you now." And that meant they locked him out of all of their team facilities. He didn't have access to any of that stuff anymore. Sure, he could go to Lifetime Fitness and go play pickup games or something like that. But he couldn't go and work out with the team facilities in Portland. And then, his agent said you can't really go do anything because if you get hurt, it's going to void a trade and the team
Right.
is going to trade you. So they were going to bench his ass. Well, they weren't going to bench him, but they were essentially going to ice him and be like, you're going to be restricted minutes and stuff like that. So his
Right.
agent was like, you're not working out. It wasn't that Dame's a lazy bastard. It's not that Dame doesn't care. It's not that, because that was some of the wildest shit seeing people taking Doc's thing. Like, this was even the first time this was mentioned because it wasn't. Dame said it on the media day to start the season. He said it in
Yeah.
interviews with ESPN and The Athletic and all sorts of things throughout the season. And then when Doc got here, he told him that. And then leaving, he told Doc, next year, I'm going to be in the best shape of my life. And Dame's already running 2-a-days. But like, there were people that were so pissed off, I think, at the Bucks going out that they literally thought that we got a top 75 player of all time and Damian Lillard's lazy. That was ridiculous to watch. That was just the most ridiculous discourse, and it's
Yeah,
because
I was wondering why it came up again. Well, I know
Bill
why.
Simmons
It's because
podcast.
it's because now it's really going to start getting crazy. But all people had to talk about of substance was the NBA Finals, and we know people don't want to talk about the actual game itself. They'd rather stir up drama, even if it's not really there. And so they go and they take quotes like the ones we're talking about, and they take them out of context and they try and make a talking point or a debate out of it on their stupid TV shows.
Well, and they highlight certain words like out of shape, Buck
Right.
star. Like they put that kind of stuff in there. And it's the same shit that we've seen them do with Giannis, where Giannis wants a trade and Giannis wants out. And it's like, and we're biting on it again. And I'm just just leave our fucking players alone. And with the Bucks fans, like, dude, settle down. This team is fine. They're gonna be okay. Like,
Yeah. They'll be right back in the hunt for a championship next year. They'll be
the
a
way
top 2 or top 3 team in the East, and they'll have as good a chance to win a title as anybody else does.
I said my biggest concern is the bench and the role players. And I'm not even talking about AJ Green and like Andre Jackson. Like, I think they're fine. I'm
Dude,
concerned about
I'm
Bobby and
not saying
Cat.
I'm not saying those guys don't matter and that moves that they make in the offseason don't matter. They do, and you win championships on the fringes and I'm not gonna debate that. But if Giannis, Dame, and Chris are healthy, those guys don't matter as much. And honestly, that is what will do 80% of the heavy lifting for any team. I heard Bobby say it again on some podcast. I don't know, the one with Shams Charania. I don't know which one it is. But he said the healthiest team more times than not wins the NBA Finals. And he's right. He's right. And if the Bucks are healthy when it comes to their star players, they can win a championship. And yes, they will need to clean things up on the edges and on the fringes and the bench and all the stuff that we're talking about. But if those 3 guys are healthy, then this other stuff that we're talking about matters a whole lot less.
Yeah. Yeah. I just saw like last week, there was just so much of that going on where people were like arguing about like Dame being out of shape. Like it was like fucking, like it was this brand new revelation. And that's why all of this happened and stuff. And
Yeah.
that was just annoying to watch. But it's not annoying to watch? The Brewers. They're good.
Transition. Nice transition. You're getting the hang of this thing. Yeah, they are. They're losing right now, 5-3 in the what is this, bottom of the seventh? Yeah, bottom of the seventh. They're down 5-3 to the Angels. But man, this is a very good baseball team, Drew. And I think you'll agree that the old Cubs fan here was maybe more bullish and more optimistic on the Brewers than most people were coming into this season, including Brewers fans. But they might be better than even I thought that they were. Now, I don't know. Some of this stuff, like, I don't know how long Joey Ortiz can keep playing like this. Willie Adames is a very, very good player. I don't know how long he can keep playing like this. William Contreras cooled off a little bit, but he's still got very, very solid numbers. But, man, they just keep finding ways. They just keep finding guys. This is a really good ball club, dude. And I don't know. I might have been as far off on my Cubs in the other direction as I was on the Brewers in terms of an optimistic direction. They won tonight. At least I think they did. I came upstairs. They were winning with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. Let me make sure they close that out. But the longer that their struggles go, damn, they blew it. They fucking blew it. They lost 7-6, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, man. That's exactly what I was talking about. They were up by 2 runs with 1 out in the bottom of the ninth when I came upstairs, or in the top of the ninth, excuse me. Dude, and they fucking blew it. Their bullpen is
your bullpen
as bad as it gets right now.
Your bullpen is a disaster, and we're literally the Brewers are playing bullpen games every day right now. Like, we don't have starters anymore. We got Freddie Peralta and Colin Ray. That's it.
I can't even put it entirely on the Cubs bullpen because they never have any breathing room or any room for error. Every game they come into, it's either tied or they have a 1 or a 2-run lead. This offense constantly puts the bullpen in those types of situations. The only thing that's been good for the Cubs consistently, and even that has been on a decline of late, has been the starting pitching. But they never have a 3 or 4 or 5-run lead because the offense just doesn't score enough runs. And honestly, that's where I've been the most disappointed, because there are guys up and down that lineup that are not playing up to expectations, up to contracts, up to the back of their baseball cards. And the Brewers are the exact opposite. They exceed expectations in so many areas where the Cubs come up short.
I'm just blown away by, like, the bullpen games where it's like we have, like, Jared Koenig start a game, pitches 1 1/3 inning, and then, time to throw someone else out there. It's like, what the fuck is this? That's like when we brought in Josh Hader to start a playoff game. It's crazy, but, like, Koenig doesn't even throw that hard. Like, I don't know. It's very funny to keep watching this, especially, like, my dad. He has a friend who's a big Cubs fan, and he was just talking all this shit, like, right before the Cubs hit their bad stretch, where he was like, yeah, your Brewers are winning, but look at who they just played. They played the Reds, and they played the Pirates, and they played this team. And then the Cubs went and played the exact same teams and lost every series to them, and then lost to the White Sox 2 out of 3 games.
They beat the White Sox. They beat the White Sox 2 out of 3.
They won 2 out of 3 on that one?
Yeah, that was one of the few silver linings in a shitty season so far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, when the wheels fell off for the Cubs, it fell off bad. Like,
yeah. They're still falling off. They're still falling off.
Were they a half game out of last in the division?
I can check that. Hold on, I have it.
Like, was Pittsburgh?
They're in last place, but as we sit here right now, they are tied with the Reds for last place. But I mean, it's all jump. There's a game separating them and the Pirates in 3rd place.
I know, like, they can climb back into it, but, like, that's just funny. I mean, we really thought that this.
I'm glad you think so.
We're going to be able to bank on Brewers Cubs. And I'm like, right now, I'm like, well, Brewers might be. We're jockeying for seeding right now.
I'm glad you think it's funny.
It is funny that the Brewers pitching factory just keeps finding arms.
I don't know how they do it, dude. God bless. Again, I don't hate the Brewers. And apparently it's not going to be the Cubs. And as I always say, if it's not going to be us, I'd rather it be you. So
yeah, I don't feel the same way.
I don't know how they do it,
because I didn't move to a city and, like, adopt their team, basically, or, like, have to, like, cover them on like a daily basis. So it's like I have like willful ignorance of like the Cubs and what's going on there. I just look at the standings and laugh. And like because I don't even like looking at the standings before July, but there's just something about me being like, yeah, I mean the Cubs are in third. Oh wait, what? And then it's just like it's like oh surprise. It's like when you watching the Cubs stand the next morning is like drunkenly ordering yourself shit on Amazon. You're just like really happy. And when I woke up, I'm like, oh, I didn't know I needed this.
And there's nothing I can even say back, man.
Wow.
There really isn't. The way that this season has gone, there's really nothing I can say back. And so, that's exactly how you should feel.
Well, you also brought up, I mean, you brought up Joey Ortiz, who's batting right now. You said the thing about like how if he can continue playing the way he's playing, I think he can, because dude is.
Yeah, I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying we don't know that he can. And the Brewers have a knack, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, because and I'm not saying Joey Ortiz is one of these guys, all right? But when they do find these guys that perform beyond expectations, when they start to come back down to earth, when they start to regress to the mean, the Brewers don't hesitate. They recognize it, and they don't hesitate in launching that guy and moving on to somebody else. If Joey Ortiz can't sustain this, great. But if he can't, I'd be confident if I'm a Brewers fan that they'll find somebody else to plug in there. And that goes for William Contreras too. Or if you have to trade Willy Adames because you can't pay him at the end of this season, like they just have they have a system, they have an organization, they have a way of doing things that they keep finding these guys. And I think they will continue to find these guys.
Well, the thing is about Joey Ortiz, though, is that he has more hits than he does swings and misses this year. The dude's a contact machine. You got to put the bat on the ball. That's why I don't think he's going to really regress all that much. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be a guy who's going to hit 30 home runs. Like, he's just going to have but like, he's getting on base. He just took a walk. He's getting on base consistently. He's got a really good eye, and he makes a lot of contact. He's just barreling up a lot of stuff. Like,
and for those who don't know, and most probably do if they're watching us, but for those who don't know, that's one of the pieces they got in the Corbin Burnes trade, and that's what you do when you have to flip pieces like that. When you have to make painful trades, at least make it worth it. Get your bang for your buck.
Yeah, and I was pissed about that. It's like now it's like we're looking at this is Joey Ortiz's rookie season. Yeah, right. So
he could win Rookie of the Year. Yeah.
Rookie of the Year, but it would be really neat to have that, like have another Rookie of the Year.
I mean, in the National League, there really isn't anyone running away with Rookie of the Year. I think he is as much in the running as anybody else is.
Well, last thing I saw, I think this was like middle of last week, of Joey Ortiz is he's in like the 80th percentile on like every offensive metric.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
that's awesome. He's like the only player in it. That's awesome.
Hey, speaking of awesome players, and before we wrap this thing up, because I'm in a room right now where it's hot as fuck in here. I'm not even going to deny. And if I turn on the air conditioning, you won't be able to hear me because it sounds like a boat motor. So we should wrap this thing up in a few minutes before I just melt on camera in front of everybody. But we have not mentioned that I came to the rescue for you last Monday when it came to the wiffle balls after you left me off the team. And I told you that you were fucking up by leaving me off the team, that you could have a quality player out there with you. You texted me, I'm going to say in a panic, last Monday. And it was kind of in a panic. We need somebody. We need a fifth body for wiffle ball. Can you come out tonight? And I thought about it long and hard. I was like, I really shouldn't. I shouldn't, because I was left out. I was left off this team, even though after I asked to be part of this team, I was left out. I shouldn't grace them with my presence. I shouldn't go help them win a game with my skills and my competitive edge and will that I bring to a wiffle ball field. But I did. I went out there, Drew, and I impressed. Quite frankly, I think most people out there were impressed by the performance that I came out and gave you guys in what, if I remember correctly, was a 6-3 victory. No, do I have the score wrong?
Yeah.
Well, we won. Bottom line is we won, and you would have had to forfeit if I was not there. And not only was I there, I was there and raising some eyebrows, quite frankly.
So a couple things here. We wouldn't have had to forfeit. We just would have played man down. We wouldn't have played with a catcher. And we would have had Aaron Morris play in right field again. So
she wouldn't have made the play I made in right field. All due respect to Aaron,
not.
she wouldn't have made the play I made in right field.
Probably not. She showed up tonight with a knee brace on, so that's probably true. Now you're saying it was you to the rescue.
I mean, it kind of was.
The score was 3-0, and who
was it?
All three of those runs?
Who was on base for you to drive in all three of those runs?
I think Gary.
And I was on base for the first one. I think I was on base for – no, you're right, the first one only.
No, because there was no way. Because I hit the 2 home runs that netted 3 total runs.
Yeah, I was on base for the first one. I know I was on base when you hit one of the home runs.
Okay, and then also who –
after a screamer to left field to get a single.
Who had the gutsy pitching performance where I struck out like 10 people?
I'm not saying you didn't have a good day. I'm just saying I think I showed that I should be on this team even after you left me off, and I showed the graciousness to come out there and play even though I was left off the roster. And when I did, I think I heard a couple people, including somebody who might be on this podcast with me right now, say maybe we should add Ramie to the roster. Did I or did I not hear people say that when I was out there?
It might have been me. I don't know.
Yeah, that might have been you.
So here's the thing. You were busy tonight, but we lost 17-12. The wind was blowing out, so every ball that was hitting the air was a home run. I hit a first inning home run as the solo homer, and then we promptly gave up the run rule the next inning because we committed 2 errors, and then the kid on that plays the commissioner's son. This dude hit 5 home runs last week, and he hit like 4 tonight. Damn. And like me and my cousin Michael, we just couldn't keep the ball in the fucking. We're throwing the ball into the wind, so anything you threw with any break on it just hung in the strike zone. So
I think if you keep bringing me out there, you'll start seeing some dingers because I think you would agree, Drew. I was making good contact. Even we did a little warm up before the game started. I was making good contact the whole time, solid contact. What took me a minute to figure out was the launch angle when it comes to a wiffle ball, because it's different than hitting a baseball or a softball. You really want to get that thing up in the air. Like you need to kind of uppercut, hack it a little bit if you want to get it over the fence. As the day went on, I started to figure that out, and I missed 2 homers by just inches. One went foul, one was caught at the wall. I think the more I get out there and the more that I get the knack for things like that, the more slug you'll see out of my bat. And I will, if you want to make me a reserve, I'll come out again when I am available in the future.
Yeah, you can come out next week, honestly, because my cousin Jim, the one who skewered himself on a golf cart. The reason why we had to call you, honestly, because he's missing like half his fucking calf right now. So he showed up in crutches today to support the team.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I think it's honestly because the antibiotics are wearing off, and he's like, I just want some alcohol. So
sure.
He showed up tonight in crutches. He ain't gonna be playing the rest of the year, so we can just put you on the team.
All right. I will try to make it out there more weeks than not. And like I said, I think you'll see more slug out of my bat. Contact rate good. I want a little more power in my bat, and I think we can bring home a championship like the Celtics did tonight, Drew.
Yeah, I mean, we won the championship a couple years ago. That was awesome, but we're old now. We're like the old injured Bucks. Me and every member of my family has a hurt ankle or leg or something.
Oh, dude, I smashed my toe tonight. It hurts so bad, but nobody needs to hear about that.
No, my cousin Michael tore his ACL a couple years ago, and he said his hamstring doesn't feel right because they had to use a piece of the hamstring to fix his knee or something like that. I'm still battling my ankle injury from when I rolled it playing basketball. Joey's missing his calf or something. We're a fucked up leg family right now.
Rest and recovery is important. Get that ice, get the sleep. get the rest, and all that, and I think we can pull this off despite our age.
I'm literally going to play basketball tomorrow.
All right, just ice up after you're done. That's all I'm saying. Ice up.
No, it's for
All
sissy.
right. Fine. Anything else, Drew? Any parting thoughts as we wrap up this episode of Ramie and Drew?
No, I got bit by a lot of mosquitoes up north over the weekend. That wasn't fun.
That sucks, but that'll happen when you go up north. This has been episode 59 of Ramie and Drew. That's Drew Flaggy. I'm Ramie Makloff, and we will talk to you again soon on Ramie and Drew.